Sorry I'm a few minutes late. We're out on the recruiting trail and just flew in to do this. I'm excited to do it. I know everybody wants to hear about Sam and maybe even about the process, but we were out casting a net across the Commonwealth, and going right back to it when I leave here. So excited about the hires. Not just Sam's, but Matt Moore, outstanding O-line coach. I've known Matt now for several years. We had a trusted process there, but that one moved quickly because we had Matt in our sights already. He's already got good rapport with our players. We obviously, brought a few of his guys in to join us. But outstanding family. His daughter just got married down on the Gulf Coast. But excited about Matt being with us. Veteran O-line coach and a heck of a recruiter. Our strength and conditioning job, Jarrett Ferguson. I've known Jarrett since he came to Virginia Tech as a player. I've always had tremendous respect for him. Called him pretty quick in the process when I got hired here to see if he'd come back to Tech and join forces. And went through an interview process, had 4 candidates for the position. And I wanted Jarrett to be the guy at the end, and he was. And we had some strong interest and some strong candidates. Very impressive. Virginia Tech, the ability to attract strong candidates at all 3 of these openings, very impressive. But excited about what Jarrett brings to our program. The mental and physical toughness, the accountability, everything that helped shape him as a player. I see it in him as a coach. And, I'm excited about that. The feedback from our players and staff already is very, very positive. He ran the operation through bowl prep, and we're just 10 or 12 days in right now, but everything seems to be going very well. And then Sam Siefkes, couldn't be more excited about Sam. As we went through the process, he just kept impressing me. I kept hearing positive things. I kept learning things that kept moving the needle for Sam with me. Our search process, I'm never going to be rushed. I want to get the right people for our players, for our staff, for me, for Virginia Tech. I just don't believe that those are any type of decision that you rush. We are, the process itself, we want it to take on all the interest, vet it, narrow it down. We had 10 serious candidates, 6 of which I met with in person. Most of those were 4-hour interviews. 2 others, multiple phone conversations and Zooms. And then the 9th and 10th, multiple conversations. Zooming wasn't necessary. Tons of follow-up. You're going to follow up with the candidates to learn more. You're going to make phone calls to learn more. You're going to receive phone calls, which I got no more phone calls on anybody than I got on Sam. From Kevin O'Connell, Jonathan Gannon, Dave Arand, it goes on and on, how well thought of Sam is in the industry. These searches take on a life of their own. And we took a genuine and honest approach to it. And, and they kind of, the coaching carousel and the coordinator carousel, it kind of all feeds off one another. So you didn't want to rush it and make a hasty decision. He knocked it out of the park in the interview. I was so impressed. 4 hours and then some, followed up on Zoom for over an hour to learn more about the scheme that he'd bring to Blacksburg. And then multiple phone conversations. And Sam was very aggressive in wanting to be at Virginia Tech. He's got noteworthy experiences that resonate with me. from his time at Wisconsin as a GA with the #1 defense in the country. I respect that. I understand that. I know how that impacted him as a young coach. In Platteville, small college ball, heck of a defense both years. Statistically, one of the better ones at that level. His time at Wofford, which I respect the Southern Conference. I coached in it. There's a variety of offenses. There's good skill sets. You're the #1 defense in the league back-to-back years, and you have the #1 rushing defense back-to-back years. Year 1 with a 3-4 scheme because that's what personnel allowed. Year 2, 4-3 scheme because that was what the personnel mandated. Very impressive accomplishment. Takes off to the NFL and then has some great experiences with Mike Zimmer, one of the more highly regarded defensive minds in the NFL. And then obviously with Kevin O'Connell and then Jonathan Gannon. Jonathan Gannon, coordinator for the Super Bowl winning Eagles, very well respected in the industry for defensive mind. And then in the end, Sam's talent, his football IQ, his confidence in himself and his plan, the ability he showed to lead, to solve problems, to adjust. He's incredibly thorough. His knowledge, what they do at the Arizona Cardinals with situational football, I hadn't been around, hadn't seen that. Not everybody's doing it, not at that level even. Very impressive how specific and thorough they are with situational football, which was a weakness for us. He's got an NFL mindset in how they prepare their players and how they game plan. He was very involved in Arizona in many facets of game planning. When you have 2 NFL head coaches reach out and tell me that this guy is going to be a successful coordinator in the NFL, that's impactful. In the end, the confidence I had that he'll lead our defensive coaches, our defensive players, and that we will improve defensively. In the end, that made the decision for me. He's a great person. His wife, Carissa, they have a young daughter. I think they're going to really enjoy Blacksburg, and Blacksburg's going to enjoy them. I'll take some questions.
I think this was a name that not a lot of casual fans had heard of before this. Yeah, had you known about him before this process? When did he come on your radar? Who put him on your radar?
Yeah, I did know about Sam. I've got a guy that played for me for 5 years that I'm very close with. Recruited him, coached him. Jesse Lucchetta is out there playing at Arizona. That was the first conversation when I talked to Jesse often enough, just kind of about the coaching and the scheme out there. Of course, Ryan Smith's coaching out there. Ryan GA'd for me at Penn State and coached here. But, we garnered candidates from multiple phone calls that we received. And also we looked out across, analytically who fielded some really quality defenses over the last couple years at different places. And then you kind of trace it back. But, he, of course, agents talk and field names. And, Mike Hazel did a great job of just kind of surface level, 100 level, the initial, research on guys. And, we had a working list of 20 candidates that we kind of zeroed things in on. And then we took it down to 10. And Sam made that 10.
You said, when I think in December, you're looking for somebody that has experience in the position and calling plays like that. Sam has a little bit of that, none of it at the Power 5 level. What did you see in him through the interview process that made you comfortable with this hire, even without that wealth of experience behind it?
Yeah, I think a couple of things. I think his 5 years coordinating is very valuable. He kind of a path similar to my own, and his ability to do what he did at Wofford. And let me say this, to do it at Platteville and then go to a new place with new challenges and do it again, that's impressive. That's consistency. at a high level, productive defenses, and to do it at Wofford out of two different structures. Not many guys that I know have done that. That's challenging. As I mentioned, his football IQ is very impressive. And then the NFL experience, to me, they're doing it at the highest level, the game planning, the play calling, the situational defenses. And he was, the guys that he was around, some of the best at the highest level. And then when they're telling me that he's ready to do this, more than ready, and that, he's got NFL coordinator, head coach one day, I mean, the praises were, so I felt very confident in it. Again, as you spend time and you learn more, and that needle just kept moving for Sam in that direction. He's composed, he's poised, he's got a ton of confidence. A lot of things and traits that I look for that say he's more than capable.
Brent, in the press release you mentioned he's defensive coordinator. Is he going to coach a specific position, or is he going to oversee the entire defense as the coordinator?
Yeah, he'll oversee it all. He'll be a walk-around coordinator.
And do you expect to fill an inside linebacker position in terms of coaching?
So Sam gets in town late tomorrow, and he's going to meet with each of our defensive coaches, and then he and I are going to sit down at the beginning of the week and kind of sort through position responsibilities, needs. Do we bring in an additional quality control person to kind of assist him with some things that's familiar with the package? So we still got some work to do there.
So you mentioned, I believe it was in December, there would be additional shuffling or adjustments on the coaching staff. Is he going to be part of handling that?
Yes, he will.
And also wanted to bring up, you mentioned the multiple schemes he ran. When he was talking to you about the scheme he envisioned, when you look at the scheme you've run the last 3 years, is that what he wants to, or are you open to having him adjust the scheme to how he sees fit with the personnel?
Yeah, I'm not just open to it. I'm excited about it. What he ran at Wofford and what they do in Arizona, I'm excited about. I think, it involves us over the next several weeks sitting down, watching film, watching cut-ups, having discussions about what's good that we've done that we want to keep, what marries up well with what he wants to do, what will our personnel allow. All of that will be part of it.
I'm sure part of this process is looking at some of the stuff on film and watching that. When you watch what his team, what his players have done, what jumped off the page about just the way his guys play?
Very challenging for offenses. Multiple looks and structures that are easily understood. I understood them in a 4-hour interview. That presents problems for play callers and quarterbacks. We called around to offensive coaches in the NFL. What are the more challenging teams defensively that you see? Arizona kept coming up.
When you hear the type of responses you got from those NFL coaches, the praise for Sam, how does that kind of just only boost your opinion of him even more and kind of swing the pendulum in his way even further?
Well, first of all, it's coaches that I respect. It's coaches that worked pretty hard to get me on the phone to speak on Sam's behalf. Guys that have done it at a high level and have had success. And the things, you look for trigger words that they would say about somebody, that are genuine and that kind of hit home with you. There weren't surface level phone conversations on Sam, really to the point where, I had to end the conversation. But the other thing is, it's a two-pronged attack. You want the professional opinion, but then you also want from a personal standpoint. So the ability to have people that know him on a personal level vouch for his character and his leadership and his maturity and some of those traits that were important in this. And then obviously those guys recommending him from just a coach, teach, lead, IQ, the ability to put it together. So checked all the boxes.
Let's go back to the room, Jermaine, and we'll do Brooke.
Good afternoon, Coach. Hope you're doing well, sir.
How you doing?
Got to ask you a scheduling question. The schedule came out yesterday. Just your thoughts about
Oh,
it.
it did?
You might have heard about it. It just seems like it's interesting. You got 2 SEC teams on there. Your bye weeks are kind of in the middle. That Cal game Thursday or Friday, we don't know about that yet. But just your thoughts about just the layout of your schedule.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't dove into it a ton. I mean, obviously I know what it looks like, but we got to see where that Cal game falls, and we got to do the away trips and make sure we plan the way we need to for those. I think we've already we've had South Carolina film rolling in the office. There's some projects being done there on South Carolina and Vanderbilt. So to the extent, that's about it right now.
Coach, you bring up Wofford a lot in the SoCon. A lot of people would maybe say that FCS experience isn't quite as valuable as FBS experience. Can you explain why you think it is and what the intricacies are in the SoCon that made that experience worthwhile?
Yeah, I mean, again, my personal experience is in that league and what it meant to me. I coached in that league at Western Carolina and at Georgia Southern. There's good football players. There's good coaches. It's competitive. And, when you win the league back-to-back years and you do it on the back of your defense, it speaks volumes.
Let's go, Damon.
Brandon, Sam hasn't called a defense play call since 2019. When you look at bringing Bud Foster in his advisory role, how much is that going to help, especially early on as Sam gets his feet wet in play calling?
Yeah, obviously Sam's excited about Bud being involved. I'm excited about it. That's one of the other things we'll work through. What is that really going to look like? What does Bud want it to be? What do we need it to be? But I'm excited about that. And for Sam, the opportunity to spend time with Bud, that was attractive as well.
It was a 7-week process of vetting and getting to Sam. When you're attacking the transfer portal, do you think of potentials, players to fit the mold that can have flexibility and be able to fit multiple schemes?
No, I don't think so. We wanted talented guys with proven skill sets that fit our locker room. We had 40 official visits in 13 days while we were preparing for a January 3rd bowl game and trying to fill some jobs. But outstanding job by the staff. We wanted as many options as we could get on the table, and then we can pick and choose, what guys we bring onto this roster. But I feel good. That was one of the follow-up conversations with Sam was personnel and making sure I had a good idea of what we're looking for and how much of what's on our team now checks the box for what this package is gonna need. Now, that was a follow-up conversation. What we would do with the staff, what that would look like, how we would break down responsibilities. That was a follow-up conversation. So yeah.
All right, 2 more here in the room before Zoom, Andy and then Chris.
You mentioned what the Cardinals do defensively a couple times. Could you explain, maybe in layperson terms, what is so unique about how they approach their defense and what Sam's role was in that?
Yeah, again, it's multiple fronts. So 4-3, 5-2, 6-1, challenging stuff, whether it's pre-snap or post-snap. The ability to play with 3 safeties on the field. There's some teams doing that. That's been attractive to me for a couple of years now, and they do a really nice job with it. And when you're coaching the middle linebackers, you're at the center point, the focal point of all of it. That's a challenging spot. When you're doing all of that, all those moving parts, that guy better be really strong and do a nice job with it.
You brought in a lot of safeties in this class. Did you do that with the anticipation of perhaps adding that more to this game?
So, yeah, it's been on my mind. I want that field overhang player to have those type of qualities, to give us flexibility. Whether we hired Sam or not, we were going to start to dabble in some of that. I wanted to do that.
Chris.
What were the challenges of recruiting defensive players in the portal when they didn't know who their defensive coordinator was going to be?
It was easier when you're a defensive head coach, right? And you've got some proven success. You can talk their language, and so there's reassurance there. And then obviously with the defensive staff intact, Xavier Adibi did a great job with linebackers, and Sean Quinn helped out there as well. So we were able to kind of still do, be pretty aggressive, and I think we did a bang-up job.
All right, let's go to Zoom for a couple.
On Zoom, please use the raise hand feature to ask your questions for Coach Pry. Please also state your name and outlet before your question. And we'll start with David, please.
David Teal with the Daily Press. Brent, did the number of Power 4 programs searching for a coordinator complicate or slow your search at all?
That was a small factor. To be honest, we had a candidate coaching in the championship game, and that's what probably delayed it more than anything. And I was going to stick to the process, and we'd done too much homework, too much work, too many conversations. We were going to see it through, which takes some work. There's, like I said, it's that coordinator carousel was rolling all the time, and you're talking to other head coaches and, trying to stay one step ahead of it.
And while Sam has called defenses, he has never recruited at the FBS or P4 level. How do you envision him in the recruiting process?
Yeah, we'll have to still talk through whether he'll be one of the 10 coaches on the road. More and more, your coordinators are remaining on campus, and with the ability to put other guys on, other coaches on the road. That's something we'll talk about. But one of the questions that I asked people that I know and trust about Sam is people skills, relatability. The guy that I trust and love, Jesse Lucchetta, absolutely loves Sam as a person, as a husband, just spoke volumes about him that way. And Jesse's salt of the earth. So things like that help you feel good about that process. And obviously, David, the NFL piece, more and more of the college players, they want that NFL touch. They want that in their development. They want NFL film. They want NFL techniques. And certainly Sam's going to bring that to us.
Any final questions for Coach Pry on Zoom? Okay, Travis.
All right, last one, David.
You mentioned Jesse Lucchetta. When you have an opportunity to talk to some of Sam's players, what did they say about just the way he kind of led the room and were able to prepare those guys so well for what the challenges they were going to face?
So I only talked to Jesse. There weren't any other players that I reached out to, and Jesse reached out on Sam's behalf, to be honest. Tremendous attention to detail, which was part of what made his interview one of the better ones. Incredible knowledge. The players, they respect him for his detail and his knowledge and ability to teach those guys. Important things, obviously, in being in that chair, being a coordinator. So that was very reassuring. Having Jesse on the inside, was helpful.
One more, if I may, on Matt Moore, just what he has been able to do with his scheme, and also you mentioned how great of a recruiter he is. What jumped off to you about the page of just the length body of work he's accomplished in his career?
First of all, he's got a great reputation as a recruiter. West Virginia's had some really good line play. He's got some guys, high draft picks, guys that are going to, have success in the NFL, I would think. But the other piece is in interview process, in our interview with Matt, his plan for development, I had never seen one laid out like that. A 3-tier process in how he works with guys that are kind of 100 level, and then the 200 and 300 level, and then the 400, and how he breaks that down and what he does, individually with those 3 tiers, but then also from a calendar standpoint, what that looks like in the winter, in the spring, in the summer. I mean, it is a well thought out plan for developing his players. Very, he did a great job.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks, everybody.